Back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Double Entertainment. Today is going to be another controversial episode, but for those of you who know me enough, know that that's to be expected. Today, I will be ranking my favorite segments of the Twilight Zone movie, from my lesser favorite to my number one favorite. And originally, this was going to be a technically more advanced episode, much like one of my top fives or top tens. But I was just too excited, and I really wanted to talk about it. And I say controversial because for those of you who do not know, and well, if you've heard of the Twilight Zone movie, chances are you already know what went on behind the scenes. But I'm gonna talk about it right off the bat. And one of the segments, there is a scene where one of the main characters, well, the main character of that segment is in Vietnam, and originally in the script, he was supposed to redeem himself by rescuing two Vietnamese children. And without going into greater detail, the two children should not have been there. They were pretty much sweatshop children, and director John Landis insisted that the stunt pilot fly lower and lower for the cinematographer, and the stunt helicopter pilot flew solo, that the helicopter ended up crashing and crushed the three actors, Vic Morrow, and the two underage Vietnamese children, and decapitated all three of them. So, yes, the film is very, very controversial, and what John Landis and the stunt pilot did, I think the stunt pilot as well should be held accountable. That should have never happened, and Vic Mao, and especially for the two kids, my heart goes out to their families. But still, I really, really love the Twilight Zone movie, and today I'm going to be ranking my lesser favorite of the four segments to my number one favorite. And also, one last thing before I get onto the segments. In my opinion, the movie is amazing. There are no bad segments. But again, I'm just telling you what my lesser favorite to my number one favorite is. So at number four, I'm going to go with the Joe Dante segment. And in this segment, we have a school teacher who is traveling. And again, I really don't know where she's coming from, where she's going. But the fact that she's a school teacher, and she meets a young boy at a diner, and she hits him with her car. Thank God he doesn't get killed. And she offers him a ride to his house, and we can tell right off the bat the house is creepy looking. Everyone in the house is acting very, very weird, and the boy is obsessed with cartoons. And this segment is actually based as a remake of two Twilight Zone episodes from the original 60 series. And throughout this segment, the boy, he has telekinetic powers. Really not telekinetic, just I don't know this horror limbo, but he has these really weird powers where whatever he says goes, whatever he commands happens, and if anyone disagrees with him or if someone annoys him, he can he can get his revenge on you just like that without even lifting a finger. An interesting fact: there's a part where we realize his older sister has no mouth, and that is Sherry Curie from the band The Runaways. And in this segment, again, everyone is held under Iron Fist by this kid, and things get weirder and weirder as he can actually make nightmare-inducing nightmare-inducing cartoon characters come to life, including scary cartoon rabbits, crazy-looking alien gremlin things. I can't even describe it, but a lot of crazy shit happens. We see a lot of really, really cool looking, creepy puppets and animatronics. And even at a point, and a scene that absolutely traumatized me as a kid, and also his other older living sister with a mouth still intact, she went on to do the voice of Bart Simpson in The Simpsons. and she kind of yells at him, and he transports her into a cartoon, and she gets eaten by this dinosaur lizard creature. And yeah, so yeah, that's my fourth favorite of the entire film. At number three, The Gremlin on the Plane. And this is a remake of the classic original episode from the original series, where originally it was William Shatner, but in this film it's played by John Lithgow, and it's directed by George Miller, who directed the Mad Max films. And John Lithgow is absolutely batshit crazy. Uh, he's not mentally all there. He is, I forgot what it is, but he does something I think involved with statistics or banking, whatever it is, some boring 80s shit. And he has an intense anxiety when it comes to flying on planes. And he sees this really, really badass looking gremlin on the wing of the plane. Now, in the original, it pretty much looked like an abominable snowman. And I love, um, again, I grew up watching all those movies. I love those crazy costumes that they wore in the 50s and prior. But in this movie, we have a much more badass looking crazy alien with like dreadlocks, and you just really have to see it for yourself. And it's scratching up the plane, it's taking out screws, and the cinematography is in your face. The sound is intense, like you feel like you're there, you feel like you're in on a Universal Studios or a Disney World ride. You can feel the plane shaking, you can hear the echoing thunder, you can feel the rain, and it's just so in your face, and I fucking love that. Just the camera angles, the zoomings, the I just love it so much. And there's even a blink and you'll miss it moment that I absolutely love, where John Lithgow goes to look outside his window and he comes face to face with the gremlin. And again, blinking will miss it. He actually wears like makeup eyes, and his eyes just bulge out of his head like out of a cartoon, and it's so amusing. It's so hilarious. I just love it so much. Now, I would say that was my second favorite. I'm sorry, I'm all over the place. My third favorite, and this is usually everybody's lesser favorite of the segment of the entire film, but as I rewatched it years and years later, I find it very, very heart wrenching, very, very emotional, and that is the Steven Spielberg segment, which stars Scatman Crothers, and it takes place in a retirement home, and you have this very bitter older man. You have all these older, again, it's a retirement home, so most of the people, so everyone there is very emotionally, um, they're going through a very emotional, turbulent time. They're living off of their nostalgia. They are all alone. None of their families come to visit them. They only have themselves and their memories. And the older man, he is the most bitter out of all of them. Until one day, Scatman Crothers comes in, and he is doing his best to lift up everybody's spirits. He's doing his best to, um, again, to give everybody hope again. And one night, he makes everybody young again. Literally, he makes everybody little kids for one night, and they can, for one night they can be kids again. And and it's and, and again, it's bringing up a really, really good question, something that even right now that I think about consistently and I fight with consistently. It's a lot of people saying, I miss being a kid, I wish I was a kid again, or I hate being an adult, or whatever. To be honest, I'm very happy with where I'm at, but still, I think about it every day. There are some aspects of my childhood I do miss, but at the same time, I love being an adult. I'm way better off now than I was ever as a kid in so many aspects. And another thing I love about this is it's very, very heartbreaking. Like right off the bat, we see the older man who is the most bitter out of all of them. We see how his son and his daughter-in-law was supposed to take him home with them, but they just didn't. They said, "Oh, it's bad timing," and the music and the piece of music that they use in that scene where they go back into the car and they leave him there is so, it gets me every time I hear it. And also at the end, and it again, for those of you who know me, it takes a shitload to actually make me cry when one of the older people, for somehow forever remains being a young kid. He says, "Take me with you, take me with you, I want to be young again." And he just starts crying and everyone starts hugging him. That scene always gets me, and it's again, it's a lot of, and originally Steven Spielberg was supposed to direct. I had a different story in mind, but uh due to the bullshittery and fucked upery that, from John Landis and the stunt pilots and the entire fucking crew, Steven Spielberg wanted to go something a lot more vanilla, something a lot less technically advanced with stunts and whatever. But to be honest, I love that segment. It's such an emotionally captivating segment. And I think it's something that, especially as an adult and the older you get and the older that I'll get, it might mean more to me every time I watch it. And for my number one favorite segment, and this is incredibly controversial, but again, I'm just playing chicken with this channel right now. For my number one favorite segment, it is definitely the Vic Morrow segment. And what happened behind the scenes, I don't want to focus on that. I just want to focus on the story. Vic Morrow plays a racist white man who is very bitter, and he's at a bar with his friends, and he starts, shit talking, and he starts bad mouthing African Americans and Jews and Asians. And when he leaves the bar, he is transported into 1940s Germany, and he's Vic Morrow, and but he's a Jew. He doesn't speak German, and he's being hunted down by Nazis like every Jew was hunted down in 1940s Germany. And he's being shot at, people are trying to get him chased, and after he falls from a roof, he is transported into, it could have been modern day for the 80s, somewhere in the South, where he is seen as an African American, but he is about to be lynched by the Ku Klux Klan. They hang up a rope, they bending the cross, and he is in the shoes of an African American without anybody helping him, and you just have he's being held at gunpoint, and you have a bunch of Klansmen and their cloaks and their hoods. They set up a noose and they're getting ready to hang him, and then he makes a run for it, and then he is in 1960s Vietnam during the Vietnam War, and he is in the shoes of a Vietnamese, not even a soldier, just a civilian Vietnamese at the other end of the gun, fighting against the Americans. And even there, he's like, "Oh, thank God, Americans! I'm an American too, guys! I'm an American." But they all start shooting at him, and it ends where he is back in 1940s Germany. They put a Star of David on him, and he is thrown in one of those train trucks along with a bunch of other Jews, and he is sent to a Nazi concentration camp. And again, what went behind the scenes should have never happened, but I love that segment, and it is very, very heart wrenching seeing how someone, it's number one, it's on the one hand, it's cathartic to see a racist get a taste of his own medicine, but at the same time, it's very, very gut wrenching seeing seeing what an African American faced, uh, at the hands of the Ku Klux Klan, seeing what us Jews faced, uh, at the hands of the Nazis, and also seeing the needless brutality of the Vietnam War. So those are my, again, sorry for going off script, but those are my favorite segments ranked from the Twilight Zone movie. Thank you so much for watching this, and if you like this video, subscribe for more. Like I said, I have an amazing, amazing video coming up, actually two, and I wish you all the best.